You know, I was just sitting around thinking earlier, and I was thinking, if you had to pick an Overwatch hero to be your roommate, you're gonna share like an apartment or something, right? Who would be the best roommate to have? Who would be the worst roommate to have? So that's what we're gonna try and do here. And then we're gonna rank them based upon ideal roommate, friendly or peaceful. So it's like, you know, it's like we get along just fine, right? We're not fighting or anything. Um, as long as they pay their share of the rent. So we're getting a little worse here. I'm about to lose it. So this is from the perspective of you being their roommate, right? And I'd rather pay double rent and live alone. Okay? So let's think about. Let's start off with. Let's start with Roadhog. Where's Roadhog at on here? Where would y'all place Roadhog? I'd rather pay double rent for Roadhog. Tell me, you gotta tell me why. You think Hog would be a nice roommate? So I got one here, one vote here, and one vote here. Or actually, one vote probably in here for Apocalypse. He would eat all the food in the fridge. But picture this, y'all. I think he would make scary sounds. Can you imagine if, like, middle of the night, you hear him, like, taking a breath from his, like, inhaler thing, whatever that is? That would actually be kind of creepy. Um, but think of this, everybody. Picture you're sitting on the couch, right? Maybe you're watching some TV or I don't know, playing some video games, whatever you're doing, and you're feeling hungry, right? But you don't want to get up and have to go to the fridge to get something out of the refrigerator. Boom, hook. He throws the hook, grabs whatever you need out of the refrigerator for you. Don't even have to get up. Okay, I think there would probably be more negatives to having Roadhog as a roommate than positives for sure. Okay, we'll go with think I'm gonna put him in I'm about to lose it. Because I could see moments where he might be fun to have around, but other moments where it would be not very fun. Okay. How about what do y'all think for how about Reinhardt? Do you want to have Reinhardt as your roommate? He's kind of cheerful, a little bit goofy. Maybe a little bit clumsy, though. I feel like he might break some of your furniture or something. Best roommate, Reinhardt? He might be too jovial for me. Nice guy would probably be clumsy. Have to have a no armor in the house rule. I like that. Yeah, it would be hard to fit in the house, I think. Man would wake up at 5 a.m. yelling, "Hello!" Yeah, you gotta picture all these things. Y'all have to make sure you're thinking this through. Can you imagine that? 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning? Hello! Okay, I think I don't know if he'd be the ideal roommate, but I'd put him in the friendly, peaceful category, I think, for me personally. All right, let's go with let's go with Hanzo. Would Hanzo be a good roommate? Seems like he might kind of just stay more to himself. Maybe a little bit quieter. Probably broody and a shut-in. Yeah, I feel like Hanzo would be kind of a good roommate. I guess it depends on what you're looking for in your roommate, because I feel like he would just kind of hang out in his own room and you wouldn't see him much. He'd just be in there like meditating and stuff. Probably labels his groceries. I feel like he'd be pretty responsible. You wouldn't have to worry about him paying rent, right? You guys are funny. I like this. Okay. Man, I wish y'all could see both chats at the same time like I can. Um, okay. I think friendly peaceful, maybe not ideal, but I think it would like you could coexist just fine. Or maybe as long as they pay their share of the rent. One of these two. Which one do y'all think? Mid? Okay. Okay, okay. I feel like it'd be fitting to do Genji next then. So Genji feels a little bit the opposite of Hanzo in quite a few ways, huh? Cyborg parkour at 6 okay. I think is Mercy, is that the lore? Is Mercy actually his girlfriend? Is that the actual lore? Or is that just like fan fiction? They're just friends currently. Okay. So basically it's almost like a combo package though in a little way. If you're gonna have Genji, you just gotta be prepared to have Mercy over a lot too. I feel like you might be kind of in the same area as Hanzo. At least for me anyways. Okay, let's talk about the Robo Horse. Robo Horse, everybody. Who wants Orisa as their roommate? Okay, I'll lower him one down for you, Glitter. How does that work? Okay. Um, Robo Horse. First of all, what do you do with Robo Horse? I feel like you'd have you'd have to have a lot of food. I feel like, but I guess Orisa's like a robot, right? So maybe she doesn't eat. I don't know the I don't remember the lore behind it. Let's go with seen a friendly, peaceful. She is large though. She would take up like a lot of the apartment. But if anybody tried to like break in and rob you, there's no way they're getting past Orisa. Orisa's like a brick wall of a tank. One of these two. We'll put them peaceful for now, but we'll see as we go along here if I change my mind. How about Winston? Winston is a roommate? I feel like I could get along with Winston. He likes peanut butter. I like peanut butter. I feel like you could have like some intelligent conversations from time to time if you wanted to. Oh, like he's messy? Is that the Lord King? Need extra storage for peanut butter. I don't... He would probably always be bothering you like with, here's my latest science project. Or whatever, right? I'm gonna put him... I think he's one of these two. I don't know if he's ideal, but I'm gonna put him in ideal for the moment. Um... Let's talk about Tracer, everybody. Who wants Tracer as their roommate? My just initial feeling is down here. Can you imagine her like zooming and zipping around the apartment or whatever though? That would be like, that would be kind of annoying. Would probably disappear mid-conversation. I feel like she got like, I feel like Tracer got like too much energy for me. I feel like I would get along better with Hanzo than I would with Tracer. It's almost like too upbeat. I'm putting Tracer here. I'm about to lose it. Alright, y'all, let's talk about Ramattra. Would Ramattra be a good roommate or not? As long as he didn't, like, annihilate all the furniture, maybe. I feel like Ramattra could be a good roommate, like... philosophical tank with anger issues. Because, I feel like he'd be responsible. Like, he would pay his portion of the rent. I think he would, yeah, he would probably keep to himself, but, like... you wouldn't want to get on his bad side for sure, right? Like if there's like a argument between roommates, you're not winning that one. I'm putting him in friendly peaceful just because I love Ramattra. Okay. Okay. What do y'all think about Junkrat? How about Junkrat as your roommate? This should be an interesting one. Rather page. I think bombs in your home is not so good. Loud, dangerous, messy, unpredictable. I feel like it would be like really interesting for like a day and then it would just be way too much. Like just kind of experiencing the craziness of living with Junkrat would probably be interesting for a minute and then it'd be like but not to like be with on for any extended period of time. How about Brigitte? Brigitte might be a pretty good roommate. I feel like I don't know very much about Brigitte's personality. It's been a minute since I watched Brigitte's like animated short or whatever. Yeah, I feel like she just doesn't like. Maybe her personality is just not like super strong, so it might be actually pretty easy to get along with her. One of these two, I think, for Brigitte. We'll put her in ideal for the moment. How about Wrecking Ball? Y'all want Wrecking Ball for a roommate? My furniture. I feel like you'd have to have, you know, when I've never had a hamster, but you know, like when you have a hamster, like you put like the wood shavings or whatever in their kind of cage with them. You'd have to have those like all over the ground, probably. And you'd have to have like a giant wheel that he could run in. He's got to be down here, right? How about what about Hazard? Hazard feels like he could be kind of cool. Loud but friendly? Yeah, that could be. I feel kind of neutral about Hazard. Like, yeah, I think I'd put him in here. I think it'd be doable as long as they're paying their portion of the rent, you know? How about Moira? Moira be probably like doing all sorts of crazy experiments in your place. That's like the lore, right? That Moira is kind of like a mad scientist or something. Or would take stuff without asking. Yeah, you'd like wake up and you'd be turned into like Reaper. You could be like the next like victim of the experiments or something. That's fine, CJ. I don't even need shampoo. Get a haircut like mine, you don't need shampoo. Um, yeah, I don't feel like Moira would be a good roommate. How about Kiriko? So the one thing that we know about Kiriko, for sure, they would need like a huge closet, right? You think ideal roommate? Think of all the clothes that Kiriko has. Kiriko has like 1,000 different outfits they gotta store. Hey, Smile, we're ranking Overwatch heroes based upon how good of a roommate we feel they would be if you had to be roommates with them. She's got a fox, so you have to deal with a fox. Doesn't she like have like a thing with donuts or something like in her animated short? Isn't there something like with donuts? Am I crazy? Yeah, I like donuts. I like donuts. Probably one of these two, I think. So y'all think ideal? Give me a 1 for ideal or a 2 for friendly peaceful. Place your vote now. The votes are evenly split so far. Let's say maybe like top of the friendly peaceful range at the moment. All right. How about Sigma? So Sigma is like, I think lore-wise, like the oldest character. Or is Anna older? I actually don't know who's considered the oldest. One of those two, I'm guessing, is probably the oldest. Unstable, you think? I just picture like Sigma like in his room like blasting like some classical music or something like really loud. Would probably float around in his underwear while muttering about the universe at night. Sigma, can you please stop floating around in your underwear? We got guests over, Sigma. Put some clothes on. Uh, he does look a lot like I do, though, so maybe we should put him in ideal. Probably, I think he's probably maybe somewhere in the mid tier. Probably. Like, I could see some pros and maybe some cons to having him as a roommate for sure. How about Widow? I feel like I don't know much about like Widow's personality wise. Well, if that's the case, so she might have to go down here. She's like pretty evil, right? She will silently judge you when you're eating instant ramen. uh, I just picture you just sitting there at the like kitchen table eating your chicken flavored instant ramen, and she's just giving you the death stare. I'm gonna say just because she's like evil and she might kill you for no reason. Let's put her in the bottom tier. How about Sojourn? I feel like Sojourn might be pretty good as a roommate. Sojourn like has, I think in the animated short, like her own like house and stuff, if I remember correctly. So maybe you could move in there. Oh, she has a dog? What kind of dog did she have? I don't remember. Croissant? She'll be a good roommate. Murphy. Okay. So I guess it depends on if you like pets then or not. It feels like it would be a fairly strict relationship. Like, I feel like Sojourn would want you to make sure you keep the place clean and stuff like that. Like, it would be fairly regimented, it feels like. I could dig it. And speaking of digging things, how about Venture? Venture be like tunneling through the ground in your apartment or your house, trying to find buried treasure. When I think about Venture now, uh, when I think about Venture, I just think about how they're always like that voice line that's like, I can dig that, I can dig that, I can dig that, I can. And people just sit and mash that voice line. Room is probably full of random stuff, like all the stuff they find. Yeah, it probably is against the lease to dig tunnels through the ground and walls. I could see some positives though, because I really like learning about history and ancient history and stuff, so I feel like I would have that in common with Venture. We could probably have good conversations. Let's go with, how about Illari? I feel like I don't know anything about Illari. Illari. Somewhere up here, I feel like. You could put like that healing pylon in the middle of your place and it would just be constant heals. I just feel like I don't. You think close to Hanzo personality wise? Yeah, make Venture make sure they pay the rent before they go on their next archaeology expedition. I'm gonna put Illari here. How about Junker Queen? Y'all trust Junker Queen as your roommate? I'm getting a lot of no's here. That's the queen, bro. I mean, when I have to like, I feel it's gonna be down here somewhere, but like when I compare to like Dylan having to deal with like Junkrat or Wrecking Ball, I don't think she's on that tier. Yeah. She'll gradually conquer more and more of the apartment until the whole place just feels like her throne room. Next thing you know, like you don't even have a room anymore. You're just like sleeping on like an army cot in the corner of the place or something. She does kind of have, there is like, I don't know if y'all remember watching her animated short, but she does have like there's like that kind of story based around, I think it's about her parents or something, if I remember in that short, where they kind of showed a little bit of depth to the character there. Like there's more there than just crazy, you know? About about May. It's gonna be very cold in that apartment with May around. Very icy. You think friendly? You guys remember watching May's cinematic when she has the her little robot friend that she like that sacrifices himself to save her? I forget the robot's name. Puerto Ricans are both. Yeah. Snowball. Yeah, that's who I'm thinking of. So I think they're a package still. You gotta have Snowball along for the ride, right? She might actually be up here even. She's smart, she can fix things. Probably bakes cookies. I'm gonna put her up here. How about Lifeweaver? Someone was saying earlier there was actually like roommate lore with Lifeweaver and somebody else? Who said that earlier? There was some message. I didn't read it completely. Oh, they were college roommates. And she said Lifeweaver was messy. I could picture that. Picture this though. You're asleep. You're having like a fantastic dream, peaceful night of sleep. All of a sudden you get life gripped out of nowhere. Out of bed. Picture this, y'all. You know the life grip only comes at the least convenient times. I don't know if y'all thought about this. Okay. All right. We'll go with ideal. I think y'all are overlooking the life grip. Life gripped into the living room to watch the ninja. How about Echo? Echo seems like, I don't know. Echo almost seems like more of a robot-like character than Bastion does to me. Copy your voice. I'm gonna say maybe mid-tier. I could see pros and cons to living with Echo. How about Doomfist? Doomfist has that one like disco outfit. You ever like you ever been around somebody, and this obviously probably doesn't happen like in other places other than like the States due to like how houses are built, but you ever had somebody like punch a wall before? Like in here in the States they just use like sheetrock. Doomfist got mad and decided to punch the wall, it would be really bad. The whole place might come down. I kind of like Doomfist though. I feel like it'd be doable as long as like you just stayed out of his way. You just don't make him mad, and I think you could be okay. So let's talk about Symmttra. So Symmttra and Lifeweaver were actually roommates in college. Is there any lore king as to like how she was in the roommate relationship? She'd be teleporting all over the place, throwing up turrets. Perfectionist. Could see that. So maybe just on the tier just below Lifeweaver. Yeah, everything's symmetrical. Everything would have to be very orderly, right? Alright, everybody's favorite character to play against. Sombra. Sombra be like hacking your computer all the time. You'd have no privacy with Sombra around. I'm seeing ideals and no. Don't think we would even know if Sombra was our roommate. Just be invisible the whole time. There's a voice line that Sombra sneaks through Brigitte's PC. Yeah, we can't have that. Can't have that. Okay, Lucio. Lucio's gotta be up here, right? I guess unless you don't like constant music going on. Lucio practicing all his DJ skills. I think maybe like, I don't think it would be ideal because like you'd kind of get like, you'd always be hearing like his music, right? So I think you would kind of get tired of that after a certain period of time, like especially if it was all the time. But personality wise and stuff, he seems pretty cool. Like easy to get along with. People would call the police on you for disturbing the peace. Go in here. These are not ordered left to right, by the way. I'm just throwing them up here. How about Bastion? Bastion and his little bird friend, which I don't know the name of the bird. Does anybody know the name? Ganymede. Okay. Beep boop, beep boop, beep boop. I felt like it'd be hard to communicate. You'd have to learn robot talk. Beep boop boop, beep boop, beep. Maybe somewhere in here. I could see pros and cons to living with Bastion. I feel like you'd be very versatile though, like you'd probably like do a lot of stuff, like fix stuff, clean, all sorts of stuff. You wouldn't have a problem with it. Cassidy? If you're living with Cassidy, I guess you gotta be okay with like cigar smoke in your place all the time. Hmm. And he's got a motorcycle, right? Motorcycles are really loud, so you would hear them come and go every single day when they started up that motorcycle. Think here? Okay. I'll roll with that. What about a high noon at noon? That's a good point. That's a good point. Zenyatta. Any thoughts on Zenyatta? I feel like Zenyatta would always be trying to like... Are you saying that, King, because you play Zenyatta? Or because you think Zenyatta would be a good roommate? Quiet, tranquil, very well traveled. Spiritual overload. That was, I feel like you might come off as like a little bit preachy at times, like always just trying to give you wisdom or advice that you maybe didn't even ask for. Getting too many characters in the friendly, peaceful realm. I think I'm gonna move Sojourn up here to ideal. And if we're being honest, Ramattra probably would not be on the friendly, peaceful relationship. Probably more in here. How about Zarya? I feel like I don't know anything about Zarya, to be honest. Zarya was like not in any of the animated shorts or anything really. And if they were, they didn't have like any dialogue really. So I don't know like anything about Zarya. Should be at the gym 24/7. That's not bad. Motivate you to stay in shape. You wouldn't have to worry about personal space because she'd always just be sitting there in her own bubble. She has like you know, you have like your personal space bubble or whatever. She has a literal one. So which one do y'all think? Ideal? Or friendly, peaceful? Seems like mostly positive. Ideal? Okay. I can roll with that. I can dig that. How about Baptiste? Baptiste seems like a pretty cool guy. My first thoughts with Baptiste would be up here somewhere. But I don't remember too much of the lore behind Baptiste, to be honest. Anybody have thoughts on Baptiste? Easygoing and flirty. Okay. So you'd have to be like worried, like if let's say you bring your girlfriend back to the apartment or something, he might flirt with them, steal them from you. How about Anna? Think of this. Anna could put you to sleep. Let's say you've got insomnia, right? Anna puts you to sleep anytime you need. It just all she gotta do is just shoot you with that sleep bullet. Granny? Is she like you think she'd like be baking cookies and stuff like that for you? Alright, how about Mercy? CJ says ideal for Mercy. Y'all that are saying ideal gotta explain to me why ideal. She bakes cookies and she's a doctor, so if you're sick, it's pretty convincing. Maybe Anna's more down here. Imagine her flying around your house, flying all over the place. So, which one do you think, who would you rather have as your roommate? Mercy or Kiriko? If I just gave you those two choices, who would you choose? Mercy's like an angel, but Kiriko has donuts. It's a tough choice. Let's talk about Juno. I feel like Juno might get annoying. Am I the only one that feels like Juno might be annoying as a roommate? Always talking about, oh, this isn't how it is on Mars. You know, like. I don't think she'd be down here, but like, I feel like she could get really annoying after a while. About Soldier 76. I feel like Soldier 76 would maybe kind of keep to himself a little bit. But I don't know. Yeah, like you wouldn't, I feel like you wouldn't see him very much. So maybe in here? He's just using the place as a safe house. I like that. How about Pharah? I feel like I don't know much about Pharah's personality either. I can't imagine like having someone fly around with a rocket pack on their back would be good, or however she flies around. She's very strict. Interesting. I don't even know. Did she have like an animated short or anything? I don't remember like learning much about Pharah at all. I feel like you could get along fine. Like you just kind of stay on her good side and you'd probably be okay. How about Mauga? Mauga could be pretty cool. Mauga has no sense of personal too many. He's pretty jovial though, like seems pretty happy all the time. Plus I think he's from I think Samoa, I think is the lore, right? Polynesian food is quite good. So he might I feel like he maybe could make you some nice meals. Yeah, I feel like I feel like Mauga would depend on your personality. Like I feel like you would either really get along with him well and have a lot of fun together, or it would not go well. So I think maybe somewhere here in the middle is probably the way to go. We're almost there, y'all. We got 5 more. There's a lot of heroes in this game. Okay. How about Reaper? Who wants to have Reaper as your roommate? Is Reaper a good guy or a bad guy? I honestly have no idea. Teleports in and out without warning. Broods corners, eats all your food. Oh, he's a bad guy now? Okay. Is that like is that the lore like when Moira started doing the experiments on him? Is that kind of like what turned him into the evil side or whatever? It kind of like messed him up essentially, yeah. Okay. So probably wouldn't be the best roommate then, eh? Okay. I think we're gonna put him down here just to be safe. I think mainly for maybe the same reasons we have Widow down here. How about Ashe? How do y'all feel about Ashe as a roommate? Okay, think about it. Bob. But you would have Bob. You gotta remember they're a package deal here. Ashe and Bob. And he is a butler, right? So he would like actually be very handy to have around. Ooh, that's a tough one. Because I think if I had to just take the Bob aspect, Bob would be up here. But the combo is probably more in here. Yeah, probably here. Um, I'm guessing so, King. I don't think Bob would kind of like obey your commands as well. How about Freya? Freya's like a bounty hunter, right? That's the lore. So nefarious though, why do you say I'm about to lose it? Are you actually saying that because of like how you think they'd be as a roommate, or because you hate playing against Freya in game currently because they're so strong? I gotta make sure we're separating our in-game feelings here. I feel like she'd kind of keep to herself, like, with her job, she'd be kind of secretive, probably out a lot. I think probably in here, honestly. Yeah, I'm gonna go there. How about Diva? We got 2 left. Diva. I guess the question is Diva a diva? She is a gamer, huh? That's like the lore. So I feel like, yeah, I feel like there's definitely some negatives there with Diva as well, but like, I mean, for us, you know, we would be able to get along with Diva, right? There's a lot of common interests there. And Torbjorn, the inventor, the mechanic. If stuff broke around the house, he could fix it, which is very useful. Like when I first like got into my current house that I live in, like I realized like I don't know how to fix anything. So that's actually a very important skill to have. I felt like yes, it would be loud because you'd always be like, you know, like doing metal work or whatever. But I feel like if you could get over that, I think up here. So, if anybody asks, this is the definitive tier list for Overwatch Hero roommates. So, I don't know why I decided to do this as a tier list. I just thought it'd be funny to do something just like completely random to look at different aspects of like the Overwatch characters' personalities. So hopefully y'all got a little bit of fun out of that like I did.